The luxury of Walt Disney World is difficult to fathom. At 43 square miles or 27,520 acres, it's twice the size of Manhattan or 51 times the size of Disneyland in California. It contains 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, 34 resorts, and a complimentary mass transit system that rivals even the most affluent cities in the world. The resort employs 77,000 cast members and services an average of 21 million visitors a year. It's no surprise that for many people, visiting Walt Disney World is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Some families will save for decades for the luxury of experiencing what is advertised as Disney's most comprehensive vacation destination. It's no surprise that people were excited about Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. The event had been slowly hyped up by the resort for almost a decade. It was the opportunity for those who had been waiting to experience something special, and those who had been before to return to something distinct. What happens when expectation doesn't meet reality? Disney had already set the standard at their other resorts. Looking on as a teenager, Disneyland's 50th looked incredible, and I wished I could have attended. Known as the happiest homecoming, the whole park was given a makeover. Entertainment debuted that celebrated the 50-year legacy of Disneyland, and every park around the world was a part of the celebration. I knew that while I couldn't attend the 50th in Anaheim, I would be there to celebrate the next Disney park to hit 50 years old. But whilst Disneyland's 50th truly felt like a birthday party where every guest left with a present, Walt Disney World's 50th could be compared to attending a child's birthday party where presents were mandatory, guests were told to entertain themselves, and the birthday child complained that the presents they received weren't good enough. October 1st, 2021, Walt Disney World officially launches its 50th anniversary celebration. Unfortunately, this is a rather minor event for the year 2021, as the majority of the world is still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Many wondered whether Walt Disney World would even bother with the celebration, but they pushed through, considering the sizable amounts of work and hype that they had put into the event. If anything, this global emergency would become a convenient excuse for the company. Even before the pandemic, the 50th celebration was already experiencing cancellations and cutbacks. Originally, the parks had plans to debut 50 new things for the 50th. The scale of these would vary dramatically, from small additions such as the Hatbox Ghost coming to the Haunted Mansion, all the way to the large ones, such as the Tron, Moana, and Guardians of the Galaxy attractions. The pandemic closures only happened around 18 months before the 50th was meant to begin, meaning any large-scale physical construction would have already had to be underway. Despite these cancellations and the global pandemic, Walt Disney World persisted in its push to advertise, market, and hype the 50th celebration. The general gist of their campaign was that there was no better time to visit Walt Disney World. You could escape and rejuvenate from the problems of the pandemic, reunite with family and friends, experience incredible new attractions and entertainment, and you need to book now, because the 50th will be so popular that you could miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All of Walt Disney World was gearing up for this celebration. Attractions and entertainments were announced that would raise the bar and set a new standard for themed entertainment. No park or resort would be left untouched, and it would all debut on October 1st, 2021. But what guests eventually got to experience was relatively lackluster, and in some regards, a step back from what had come before. 7 attractions were originally planned to open at the parks as part of the 50th celebration, with 6 of these being at Epcot alone. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure was the only one of these that opened on October 1st, 2021. 3 parks received new entertainment. Almost none of these felt like a celebration of the 50-year history and legacy of Walt Disney World, and mostly felt like Disney patting themselves on the back for having such an extensive library of intellectual property. The new shows simply felt like the same old what's hot rotation of IPs, just in a different order. Both nighttime spectaculars were fine, but worse than what they replaced. Harmonious, which opened at Epcot and replaced Illumination's Reflections of Earth, was a decent enough show, but it didn't fit in that park. It didn't celebrate Walt Disney World and left this monstrosity in the park all hours of the day, obstructing what used to be a magnificent view, all for a 22-minute show. Kite Tales, the new show at Animal Kingdom, didn't even last for the entire celebration, but became renowned with locals and fans for its absurd kites and their tendency to crash. Around the entirety of the Walt Disney World Resort, it was pretty much the only new daytime addition, other than cavalcades, which were just shorter, worse versions of parades. As for the attractions, Tron at the Magic Kingdom didn't open in time and wouldn't open until the celebration officially ended. Epcot, which was hailed as the de facto home of the 50th, was a construction site. Cosmic Rewind, one of the planned attractions for the celebration, opened partway through, and Ratatouille was purposely held back for months just so they could have at least one attraction open on the official start date of the celebration. For all intents and purposes, it was Magic Kingdom's 50th anniversary, and it received some of the least attention, besides a new fireworks show and some cavalcades. The park's latest ride wasn't ready in time, and with the construction of Tron, it also meant that one of the most iconic opening day attractions, the Walt Disney World Railroad, was closed for the entire celebration. One of the best parts of the entire 50th was the merchandise, specifically the Vault collection, and that says it all really. Disney saw the 50th not truly as an ultimate, once-in-a-lifetime chance to visit the resort, but simply as an excuse to slap a new logo on some Spirit jerseys and call it a day. Now, don't get me wrong, visiting during the 50th was still insanely fun. It's still a theme park resort at the end of the day, and all the non-50th offerings are still just as good as they were before the celebration started. The new lighting on Spaceship Earth is incredible and will hopefully stay lit up and upkept for a long time. The other beacons were fun too, just not as incredible as Spaceship Earth. But I was also lucky enough to visit Disneyland for their 60th anniversary, a random year to celebrate which should be nowhere near as grand as a 50th. But it was better in every way than Disney World's golden celebration. Heck, even Tokyo Disneyland's 35th anniversary, an even more random number, did more to celebrate the park itself than Disney World did. And it wasn't just an time to visit. It was arguably a worse time to visit than a few years earlier, with the removal of FastPass Plus, Disney's Magical Express and Extra Magic Hours, alongside the addition of Genie Plus and Magic Band Plus, which are both heavily criticized by theme park fans and professionals alike. Considering what was on offer in just 2015, as described in this video released by Disney, it was hardly the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that Walt Disney World tried to sell it as. As of March 31st, 2023, the Walt Disney World 50th celebration is officially over. Disney was quick to strip as many memories of the 50th as they could. Banners were removed, the clock made its triumphant return to the center of the castle, and the overstayed welcome of the celebration was finally over. The legacy of the 50th will be a new color scheme for the castle, the Fab 50 character statues, and the lighting on Spaceship Earth, until it breaks. And that's about it. No new classic shows, no long-term entertainment additions. Over at Epcot, Harmonious, the Tacos, and the Stargate are gone. Currently replaced by Epcot Forever, but eventually set to be replaced by another Disney songbook show. This of course won't fix the core issue of Harmonious, not feeling like it belonged to Epcot, but at least we won't have the eyesores clogging up the World Showcase Lagoon all day. Similarly, over at the Magic Kingdom, Disney Enchantment is also gone, and already replaced by Happily Ever After, a show that debuted not as a celebration, but just as a great new nightly fireworks show. So what now? What comes next for Walt Disney World? Let's explore that But you know what could come next for you? A cheeky subscription to the channel and a like on this video. In the recent annual shareholders meeting, Bob Iger announced a $17 billion investment in Walt Disney World over the next 10 years. While that monetary amount is very specific, everything else was specifically vague, with no concrete explanations as to how it would be spent, rather than saying they would be creating 13,000 new jobs. At its core, we can chalk this statement up as at least partially politically motivated. Disney is the largest taxpayer in Florida, and this answer came specifically when Iger was asked a question about Ron DeSantis. While of course we would love to say that the $17 billion will be spent on 17 new Galaxy's Edges, all within Disney's Hollywood studios, yet somehow Rise will still be a 3-hour wait. But realistically, what could it contain? Most likely the money will be used for further investment in updating, upgrading, and refurbishing existing attractions, hotels, and everything in between, as well as brand new hotels, DVC towers, and offerings for the existing parks. While the money is enough to build a 5th or even 6th and 7th theme park at the resort, it's likely and hopefully not going to be used for that. Each of the 4 current Walt Disney World parks needs expansion and higher capacity individually, more than the entire resort does as a whole. At the end of the day, this seems like a targeted answer to DeSantis, essentially saying, look what you could have if you stop your heavy-handed stupidity you are employing when it comes to the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Disney wants to be in control of the narrative, letting people know exactly what they give to Florida and how much they are dedicated to the state and have been for well over half a century. This money should also partially go to whatever Disney's long-term answer to Epic Universe is, with that park coming online in 2025. Though with Disney's intention to hire 13,000 new workers, we do wonder where they are going to be coming from, with both them and Universal already struggling for staff, and Epic Universe set to employ close to 15,000 people itself. Currently at Disney World, Epcot is still unfinished, and even once done will be a shell of what it was originally announced as. No Mary Poppins spinner, no new spaceship Earth, no bar on legs, and half of Communicore was destroyed just to bring it back in a different shape. The only other construction at the resort is on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, a reskinned attraction. Though this does seem to have had its budget increased a little. Why announce all these things like new animatronics now, when all they could announce before was lighting? We really have no idea what the new additions are going to be for Walt Disney World past 2024, so the next few years are going to be incredibly interesting to watch. Will the world's most magical celebration ultimately become the world's most forgotten celebration? Only time will tell. Hopefully, iridescence is left in the past, and the future will be full of celebrations, celebrating what they're all about. But over to you. What do you think of Walt Disney World's 50th celebration, and what should come next for the resort? We're genuinely curious to hear what you think. For Review Time, I'm Luke. Thanks for watching.